Yo, what's going on, guys? And I just wanted to add this, as there's been a few more reports since this video was originally recorded. So this will be an editor's note, and that is the Raptors may be joining the Durant sweepstakes. And allegedly John Gambadoro is also saying the Spurs are lurking. Let me hear your thoughts. Now, according to Jake Fisher of the Stein Line, if Giannis Antetokounmpo doesn't hit the market, which seems that teams are tepid at best that he will, the Raptors could shift their sights towards Kevin Durant, an option that would come at a more realistic acquisition cost than trying to outbid the league for Giannis. This isn't a new ground for Toronto. They were heavily in on KD during his 2022 trade request. Now, with Durant entering the final year of his deal and extension eligible, the timing might finally align. Toronto's front office is under pressure to retool after moving off of Pascal Siakam and OG Anunoby, resetting the roster around Scotty Barnes. They grabbed Brandon Ingram at the deadline and extended him, signaling a clear intent to compete again in the East. Multiple reports pegged the Raptors as one of the most aggressive teams early this transaction cycle, and a Durant swing would fit that tone. Meanwhile, John Gambadoro added intrigue on the Spurs side. Per a close KD associate, Durant has mentioned San Antonio as a team of interest. The Spurs, with Victor Wembanyama and ample flexibility, would make an appealing fit if KD decides he wants a new chapter. Bottom line, don't be shocked if both the Raptors and the Spurs stay lurking in Durant sweepstakes this summer. So yeah, we're just going to continue what I had recorded previously. Yo, what's going on, guys? And another day, another, story or report in the Kevin Durant trade saga. Jordan, now the head coach of the Suns, was seemingly chosen to be the first-time head coach to help lead this team due to his good communication skills, versatility to coach both sides of the ball. And Brian Gregory, the new general manager for the team, made it seem also like he was gonna choose continuity and not trade Kevin Durant, signaling that most of the trade packages weren't up to snuff. And things have changed. So we know Sean Sharani the other day said there's 4 to 6 teams interested in Kevin Durant, and that the price that the Suns are asking has been lowering. So before we start today's video, I want to hear your thoughts down below in the comment section. What do you guys think? And do you guys agree with these reports? And what would your trade package be? Either if you're a team interested in Kevin Durant, or if you're the Suns, what do you at least want? So I'd like to hear those thoughts down below in the comment section. I'd like to hear what you have to say. If you enjoy, hit that like button and subscribe. It'll help out the channel a ton. So let me read you the report. That this is a report coming from John Gambadoro of Arizona Sports, that we know the Suns are seemingly ramping up their efforts to trade Durant, as people are saying that, or it's being suggested in reports, he could be traded before the draft, as a deal for Durant will involve draft capital, meaning they could get additional picks in this year's draft. That means a team selects for Phoenix, and then the deal is finalized when the league year changes over in July. One team that has been connected to the superstar or former superstar, he's still a great player, but we all know Durant isn't what he used to be, is the San Antonio Spurs. And I've said, I think Durant is the backup option for the Spurs. We all know, I think the Spurs, if Mr. Giannis Antetokounmpo truly becomes available, I think the Spurs have probably one of the more competitive offers. I think only 2 teams in the league could probably offer a better deal or an equally as great offer, and that is the Oklahoma City Thunder, who are probably not interested, and then the Houston Rockets, which may be interested, And we know, speaking of the Rockets, that the Suns' preferred trade candidate, if they were to trade Kevin Durant, would be to the Houston Rockets, as reports have said that the Houston Rockets have been in conversations with the Suns for Durant, and that the Suns have been asking repeatedly what it would take to get back their draft picks. Basically, they're telling the Suns the Suns are telling the Rockets, hey, we would be down to trade you Durant. All we really want is to be able to regain control of our draft so we can actually rebuild if necessary. Now, the Spurs, which it seems like the Bucks are signaling that because Giannis might choose to stay and remain in Milwaukee, that the Spurs could be pivoting and seeing that Kevin Durant might be a cheaper and solid addition to join the De'Aaron Fox, Victor Wembanyama core. What the Spurs can offer is a package of younger players, either Keldon Johnson and Devin Vassell packaged together with maybe Jeremy Sohan, Malachi Brannan, Blake Wesley, some combination of those players. Or you could do Keldon Johnson, Harrison Barnes, Jeremy Sohan, something, again, along those lines. Expiring salaries or young guys who could be up for contract extensions and draft picks in a deal for Durant. Plus, they have multiple picks in this year's draft, especially in the lottery. The Suns have said that they don't want to rebuild, so they would want a trade built around win-now players while adding some draft capital down the road. Another team we've heard is the Minnesota Timberwolves. I've suggested that we knew at one point it was Julius Randle, Reed, and Dante DiVincenzo. I think they would keep DiVincenzo, in my opinion, at this point. And I think what you would want to do the package is, no offense, Mike Conley, as much as this team values him, I think a Mike Conley, Reed would opt into his option and then sign an extension with the Suns, and Julius Randle. So to me, why would you do that is because I think Julius Randle is another guy who will pick up his option, probably sign an extension or just be an expiring. But the reason he picks up the option is he wouldn't make that much money in free agency. So that's probably the third deal on the table. What other teams? I've said, I think Boston, if the Suns said, hey, we would take Drew Holiday and Kristaps Porzingis in a swap for Durant and Vazi Micic, if they were able to get like the money down, there would have to be a way to do that deal because both teams are in the apron. But there's kind of a way to do that deal where, like, I believe you could almost get it to swap, or you get a third or fourth team to dump salary and then one gets under the apron. But if something were allowed to be possible for that, that's another one that I guess would keep the window open for Boston while also creating financial flexibility in 2026 free agency if they don't extend him or they do extend him. And then because Kevin Durant would then play the Jason Tatum role in the interim. You're jumping through hoops, but you'd get what I meant by that. Now, outside of that, I do think it becomes interesting to think about other teams who could trade for him. Because I know somebody's going to be like, what about the New York Knicks? Well, that would have to be a deal basically built around Mikal Bridges and Mitchell Robinson, gives them a center. And then why Mikal Bridges instead of OG Anunoby is because OG Anunoby's already extended and he's older. And Mikal Bridges is up for extension. They know Mikal, and they could probably... And no offense to OG. I love OG, and I think OG might be the better player. But Mikal's probably better suited for playing alongside Devin Booker, and like probably fits what the organization wants to do. So to me, when I look at that, I'm not surprised if that was the route. Plus that, like, they'd be able to sign him to an extension of like 4 years, 3 to 4 years, maybe even a 5-year. I don't know what his max extension is right now off the top of my head, but that would allow them to have just a longer duo between Bridges and Booker if that was the route. But yeah, that's my thoughts on that one. Let me hear yours.